are you? To God be all the glory. I am so glad that God opened my eyes and I was able to witness a new day. And I thank God for His goodness, His mercy, His favor, and His grace. And I just wanted to say our Father's Prayer before I get into this conversation with you, what I got for you this morning. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get back with you all last night. I had to have some me time. So, anyway. And don't forget tonight, also want to announce tonight, I will be doing a Throwback Thursday, okay? And the Throwback Thursday is going to be a discussion on going over some of the things that I was able to see past the smoking mirrors and the smoking glass or whatever, that I didn't get a chance to really see a lot of stuff with all the noise that was going on this R. Kelly trial, his R. Kelly trial in the Eastern District of New York, and also his trial in Chicago. But mostly I'm focusing on the New York trial more than I am with the Chicago trial, because I think the Chicago trial just added on whatever, maybe one little thing for the minors. I don't even know what they did. To be honest with you, I just think Chicago trial just went over the things from the New York trial, and then had the people from Chicago, and all those people were. We'll talk about it tonight. Once I get it all together, it's early in the morning. So let me get into our Father's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debt as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy you are the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about in this video, this just came to me this morning, and I said, oh, wow, let me hurry up and just try to, bring awareness out there and talk about this, because it's so many strange things going on that you wouldn't believe that's going on. Okay, now we're going to talk about West Virginia. Now, West Virginia is not very popular with black people in West Virginia, the state of West Virginia, because I look at places that's in the United States that don't have any black culture going on. Okay, and West Virginia is one of them. And you're going to find out in this video here why you don't they there, but you don't see them, and you don't see no black culture there. And there's another place in the world they told me about that they don't have too much. I think it's Idaho, West Virginia, um, North Dakota, South Dakota. Oh God, I'm trying to go over all the states where there is really no black people living there. Like, really, you probably got like 1%, 2% black people. And now we see why. Once you see this video, you're going to find out why you don't see that many black people there. Because all these states in the United States, now some of them, I'm not saying North Dakota and South Dakota. I'm not going to put those states in the same category as West Virginia in Idaho, because I don't think no black person wants to live in those states anyway, like North Dakota and places too cold and stuff like that. No, black people ain't living nowhere where it's too cold now. Anyway, that's not for us. But anyway, this video here is about a couple who adopted black children, some siblings. They adopted these black kids, and they did the most horrible thing you could do to any human being. Horrible, like slaves. Kept them like slaves. But this judge, of course, is a white judge, gave them, she went in on them. And not only did she just go in on them, but she wasn't giving them no mercy in the court. No mercy whatsoever for the crimes they committed. What they did to those children are going to be damaged for a very long time. They're not going to never be right after what they had experienced. But let's go on to, well, I can't really say that because God can do some things that are amazing. But I'm just saying that this is, when you do certain harmful things to people, like I could fall, hurt my arm, break my arm, get it fixed, but still in all, it ain't going to be the same. You know what I'm saying? You can fall, break your arm, it could heal, but it won't be the same. Because every now and then you're going to feel that pain from that broken arm. Because I still get that pain from when I broke my ankle in 2019. That pain still gets there. Sometimes that pain is so, it hurts so much that sometimes I can't even walk. So that's why sometimes I had to take some time away from my jobs and things of that nature because of some injuries I had that sometimes I have these pre-existing injuries, pains and stuff of that nature. But anyway, let's go into this thing about this couple here. These people actually did the most horrible thing, and you're gonna hear it. You're gonna hear this, and this mercy, Jesus, mercy, mercy, Lord. This couple here did the most horrible thing ever, and I hope they don't ever see another day of daylight. For real, for real. I never felt this way about horrible human beings before. I know some people did some horrible things, but these people, man, I don't know how to explain it. This is hard. It was horrible what they did. Let's listen to what he's gonna bring to us.
We have a major update. Hundreds of years. That is the sentence for two parents who adopted black children and decided to enslave them. Put up the picture full mass. We've been bringing you this story since day one, providing the updates as they come. West Virginia judge admonishes the white couple, Donald Lance and Gina Whitefeather, who kept their adopted black children as slaves, gives them the maximum sentence for doing so. Lance, 65, was sentenced Wednesday to a maximum of 160 years behind bars and will not be eligible for parole until he's 101 years old. The 63-year-old Whitefeather, who received a maximum of 215 years, will also have to live in prison, not eligible for parole until she's 112 if she makes it. The couple will also be required to pay a restitution of $280,000 each. But at least they will have access to a working toilet, a luxury not afforded to their two oldest adopted children. They will also receive blankets, which they refuse to provide their oldest daughter and son, forced to spend their nights inside a cold, drafty barn. Now, if you remember in the initial reporting of this story, the law enforcement personnel who found the children locked inside of a barn, and it was locked from the outside, okay? They had no blanket, they had no toilet, and it was cold. The irony is, even with this sentence, they are going to live in conditions much better than the black children they adopted. Put it up full mass. The judge, before issuing her sentence, listened to impact statements written by four of the children and read in court by prosecutors. The oldest girl, now 18, addressed her adopted mother directly, telling Whitefeather, quote, "I'll never understand how you can sleep at night. I want you to know that you are a monster," end quote. The couple were found guilty in late January of more than 31 counts, including child neglect and human trafficking, among other charges, following 12 days of shocking testimony about the horrors endured by their adopted kids. Whitefeather and Lance were arrested October 2023 in their home near Charleston, West Virginia, after a neighbor spotted him locking the couple's two oldest children into the barn. I'm going to take you back to a reminder of what happened, all right? So deputies responding to the neighbor's 911 call required a sledgehammer to break into the facility, where they found the 16-year-old girl and the 14-year-old child, boy, reeking of body odor with sores on their feet. They slept on a concrete floor, no bedding, and shared a bucket as a toilet. Inside the main house, a 9-year-old girl was found alone crying in a loft with no guardrail, according to prosecutors. The couple adopted the victims, 5 black children, all siblings, while living in Minnesota. The white couple took the kids with them to Washington State in 2018 before settling in West Virginia May of 2023, when the children ranged in age from 5 to 16. The siblings proved to be quite lucrative for White Feather and Lance. A financial intelligence analyst who reviewed the couple's bank statement testified they pocketed $318,000 in child assistance from the state of Minnesota alone. The eldest sibling told jurors the children were made to stand in their rooms for hours, quote, to prevent us from falling asleep. They also were ordered to keep their hands on their heads, and if they didn't, White Feather would douse them with pepper spray, the teen testified. As prosecutors presented photos inside the home, the 18-year-old recalled an incident where Lance hit one of her brothers in the head with a PVC pipe. She testified how the children were cursed at, quote, all the time, especially by White Feather, who often used racial taunts and was found guilty on 4 counts of civil rights violations as well. The children lived on a diet of peanut butter sandwiches, often left over from a previous meal. They were not allowed to eat except during those scheduled feedings and drank only water after their meals. The 18-year-old testified to this. She had only a sleeping bag on the floor in the barn in which to sleep, while a teenage brother was given just a piece of coffee.
Not even the slaves were treated. Wait, that's not funny, but not even when the way he described, giving a description of what these children had endured and how they were living with these people and how these people were treating them as slaves, as children, and beating them and hitting them with pipes and making them stand up for hours with their hands on their head and giving them peanut butter sandwiches only with water, and they were not allowed to eat nothing until like leftovers. It's even the slave masters back in the days treated their slaves, made sure their slaves ate well, rest well. Even the slaves, if you look at all the old slave movies, the slaves had their beds. They had their own little house. They had the cottage they was staying in or whatever. But they still had a bed. They had their beds. Even if they slept in the barn, they did have a blanket or something to sleep with to cover them up. Nothing cold and drafty. Of course, they didn't want their slaves to get sick and die, and they needed them for work. And the only time they got beaten is when they was being disobedient or if they was trying to run away. That's the only time that slaves were actually tortured. But these people, these are wicked ass real devils. I mean, really. Wow. Let's go on.
Cardboard to use as a pillow. The oldest child said she went about 2 months without taking a shower or brushing her teeth. They spent their days carrying supplies, gardening, digging holes for trees, clearing land, gathering water from a creek, and tending to animals on their farm. That's according to the eldest daughter. The siblings received absolutely no schooling at all. There's more. The daughter testified that when the family lived in Washington, the children were made to sleep in tents on a hill because White Feather told them, quote, we were dirty and that we stunk. Quote, I felt like I wasn't ever going to get out of that situation. She said after neighbors in West Virginia noticed.
Can you imagine, like, female children that can't bathe because this woman ain't allowed? What? You know why this is nasty and disgusting? Because women get they cycle. Females get they cycle. They cycle could start at 11. They cycle could start at 12. Depending on the child, the growth of the child, the hormones. And this is disgusting. I could imagine that if this young lady was on her menstruals, on her cycle, how nasty that was. Ugh. And that's what it makes me think about. Like, you mean to tell me you was that cruel, knowing that this woman, these young women, children, these female children, at a certain time of life, they're going to start menstruating. And I'm not surprised if that man was raping them. I'm not surprised if he was raping the girls as well as the boys, and they both was raping them kids. I wouldn't be surprised, because if they doing all of this, they doing other things too. I'm not surprised, but they not gonna put all of that there because it'll be too graphic.
They're performing hard labor outdoors. The 18-year-old said they spent their final months with the couple locked inside. We were always locked up, she testified. The children are now living separately, with the oldest male child undergoing psychological counseling. Last month, one of the children filed a lawsuit against Lance and Whitefeather, alleging they experienced shocking and severe physical and emotional abuse and neglect while under the couple's care. From day one, this was one of the most horrific stories we've covered at Indisputable.
That is horrific.
It's difficult for you to hear that. It's difficult for me to report it. It's much more difficult for them to experience it. There were 3 opportunities prior where law enforcement got wind in other jurisdictions that something was going on with this family. And what the family would do is they would basically move every time someone got wind of their abuse or there was an accusation. Somebody may be coming later for a pending investigation. They would simply move. And when they would move, the previous jurisdiction would basically lose interest in following up in the investigation. And that is how they were able to avoid authorities or responsibility for their crimes. This is a note to those who work in these agencies. Don't allow them to get away that easily. This could have been stopped a few years before it was, if the agencies decided to follow up outside of the state jurisdiction. But they did not. This story strikes me personally because I was a foster child myself and could not imagine going through such an extreme and evil scenario. Being a foster kid is hard enough. These individuals decided to make their foster children their slaves. Decided to not allow them to have access to education, made them perform hard labor every day, and they only ate the scraps left over from their tables. The striking irony is, those who were enslaved in America actually got a better treatment than that.
Yes, they
Sometimes
did.
they actually had a full meal.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to sleep in the quarters that they could get some rest because those evil slave masters of that day wanted them to be rested enough to work. These individuals were even more evil than that. All right.
They're more evil than that.
Yeah, I think one of the initial things that anybody would think about when they hear about a story like this is just the overall vetting and monitoring process in the foster and adoption system, how that works. I grew up with a variety of people who were in adopted homes, and the homes that I knew them in were good, but some of them came from homes that weren't. So, just what types of people this can attract. And because I mean, these people were clearly completely, well, not were, are just completely out of their minds, living out some type of like sadistic torture fantasy. Yeah. Because this is the type of stuff you see, and it's like, how did you think that you were going to get away with something like this? Like, was there any thought process in that? Like, we're just going to keep them forever, treat them horribly, work them as slaves, not wash them, not give them basic accommodations. So clearly these people.
But how long did they have these kids? Oh, he said they was in 27, 18, 23, 24, 20. Not that long. Well, how old were the kids when they got them? Because they saying the 18-year-old, the kids didn't try to run away at any time when they had these people. That's the part that I gotta go watch the court case. I gotta watch it in court because that's the only way I'm going to be able to really truly get a better understanding that these kids were there all that time with under these people. He just said that the jurisdiction, like that as people was catching on to them, they were moving from state to state. And as another story I want to share with you guys about a couple, a lesbian couple that adopted some black children too. And the kids that they adopted, when they were being abusive to the kids and people was finding out that there was something going on about this foster care or adoption or whatever it is, they adopted, I think it was like around 4 children or 3, 4, something like that. Same amount of kids like these people. It's a lot of that going on. These illegal adoptions and stuff going on. It's a whole lot of that stuff going on in the system. I'm telling you, they got people out here. You go in the hospital, they tell you your baby died, and they got your baby out there trafficking your baby off to some illegal black market, a black market adoption. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Like these couples that be desperately wanting to adopt kids and they can't have kids and everything else like that, and they go and adopt children. Where do you think them kids come from? Who gonna give up their baby? Just gonna give up their baby like that after you already attached to the baby 9 months. You had that baby in your belly for 9 months. That's an attachment. Unless you a person that just like who my sister and them was, because they was all messed up on the street with drugs and everything else like that. But they didn't. What they didn't do is they just gave their kids to the family. The family took them kids. I'm sure them kids got family out there that could have probably taken you if you would have searched deep enough. There was somebody, a relative or somebody that would have been able to care for them kids, with some state assistance, but it would have been better than sitting them with some white people and letting them put them and make them enslaved. Not saying black people will do any better, but I'm just saying, like, did they ever search for any other members of the family or somebody that could have took those kids? What happened to their parents? I gotta do more research on this story about this torture, enslaving children and then torturing them and doing stuff. I gotta do more research, and I'll come back with y'all. I'll probably do a follow up on it.
People are completely insane and likely going to have a rough time in prison because that's not going to fly well in there. Right. And obviously they're not going to live to be like what 105, 112 were the ages for when they're up for parole or something like that. But yeah, I think the most constructive question that I'm thinking from this is just the overall vetting process for the foster system, such that these people could do this at all.
And I concur. Our positive thoughts, prayers, vibrations go out to the children. I want to put the judge back up just for a moment. I want to take a moment to specifically say thank you to her. That judge gave
I want to write her a letter.
The maximum allowable under the law.
Yeah, she deserves all honor for her work.
And no matter what, those kids will remember that judge.
There's some good judges out there. There is. I just hope.
Hell of a thing, a judge.
I just, this is sad, but I want to follow up on this story because it's interesting. Viral judge. I I want to find out who this judge is. I would like to just send her a letter and say I want to thank her for what she has done, to bring justice for those children in the justice system, how those kids were, failed in this world, how they were failed. And just my prayers is with the family and everything. And thank you so much, Judge. God bless her. God bless her. That is really sad that people will do something like that to the orphans. That God will definitely send you to hell for that. There's no way He gonna show you any mercy or any grace. And this judge used good judgment. She used her good. She gave a good verdict, and she gave them the highest among all sentences. These people are never gonna see another day out in society. And if they are doing this stuff like that, I hope they send their butt right into a black, put them put them in a cell with a black man and a black. That's probably what they do. They gonna probably put her in a cell with a black woman with a butch. Put her right there with a butch and a real bad bully ass butch, and put him in there with some real homo thug. You know what I'm saying? That's really gonna do him in. And I hope they put him in there with a black man because of the fact that you committed a crime against black people. That was the offense against us. So yes, let us handle that justice. Put them right in the cell with the most brutal, evilest, craziest black man, and put her in the cell with the most craziest, brutal, bad, butch black woman. Okay, that's justice. These people you punishing God, you do stuff like that. That says that in the Bible. Jesus said that in the Bible. Anything you hurt a child, you going to you for what? A noose will be hung around your neck, and you going straight to Hades. You going to hell. Ain't no justice for that. None. None. Jesus said it. You hurt an orphan. You hurting children. Beating them. Starving them. Making them urinate and pee in buckets. But like I said, I have to do more research on the children, like what led them up to that. Like, why were they in the care of these people? They said they was enslaved, they were foster parents or something like that, or adopted parents or whatever they were. But did they ever make any attempt to get away? Did they ever try to well, they had them in a place that looked kind of very rural where they were in West Virginia. It looks very rural. So that's probably why it was hard for them to escape. He said they didn't have shoes, so they couldn't. I would have ran out without shoes. People would have asked you, why you ain't got no shoes on your feet? Hey, because there was a lady around here, around my house. One time, it's a place for, it's a house, a few houses down from where I live at. One of those houses is for people that's recovering from addictions. And they live there, whatever program there or whatever. So it was a lady that came. I saw her. She knocked on my door. And when she knocked on my door and everything, she came to ask me for something. I forgot what she asked. She asked for no, the police were looking for her. They came around looking for her because I guess when they leave off of the premises for a certain amount of time and they go somewhere, they call the cops to make sure they aren't eloping or whatever. But she knocked on my door and she was looking for something. Then the police came and then the police saw her, and I saw her walking and she didn't have any shoes on. And I said, "Are you okay, ma'am? Are you okay?" And the police officers looked at me, and the police officer said, "Yeah, we just got a call for her, because she was supposed to be at her house over down some area down, a couple of houses down. It's a pretty far walk from my house. It's pretty much down from where I live at, but she's all the way down there." And the police officer says, "Yeah, we was looking for her. That they called, and she had no shoes on." I said, "Well, could officer, before you take her, can I please go get her something for her feet?" I said, "What size do you wear?" She says, "I don't. It doesn't really matter." I said, "No, it does matter because I wear a 9, and your feet could be either larger or smaller." So I looked at her. I said, "See if you could put these on." And plus, I have like bigger shoes here because my husband, he wears like a 13. Ain't no way she gonna wear 13. But I'm just saying, like, I was like, "Well, I wear 9. and you might wear a smaller size, like maybe a 7 or 8, you know? So she was like, "Oh, that's so nice of you," or whatever, this, that, and the other. She's like, I don't really know what size I wear. I'm sorry. I really don't know. She was out of it. So in the sneakers, I put the sneakers on her feet and they fit perfect. And the police officer was like, "That was so nice of you. God bless you." I said, "Yeah." I said, I saw the woman out here. I'm not passing nobody by because I know what it's like to see somebody lacking and don't have anything. Because I had family members. I had my sisters and them when I was living in New York. I used to get off the train to go get my sister. She in the garbage kind of. My sisters and them was messed. I mean, that crack had her real bad. That crack, that addiction. When you on drugs that bad that you will actually go to the garbage can to go eat something out the garbage. I'm talking about my mother cried, "Oh Lord Jesus, my child. How did she get on that stuff?" Went to college, broke up with a boyfriend, went crazy over this boyfriend. And I guess it was her first experience, and she just really didn't understand anything was going on with her. And she just was like, oh my God, she came back home from college. My sister was messed up. And my mother had to take her to go see a doctor, a psychiatrist, put her and actually have her admitted in the hospital for psychiatric treatment. It was just a whole lot of drug addiction. But she came through, though. She came through, to God be the glory. She came through. She came through, yep. I mean, everybody had to get involved. My auntie, my grandmother, my uncle, everybody in the family took part. And when we saw my sister messed up on that shit out there, that crack started hitting the cities of New York. This was in the 80s. Yes, so you'd be surprised how many people these kids could have been born from a addict. Families parents were addicts, and these foster care people came along and they saw ching ching, and that's what they did because they didn't care for the needs of these children. They just wanted to get the money. And a lot of these foster parents do that when the kids start aging out and they don't get as much money as they usually. And what I don't understand is that these children, if they adopted or even foster care, where's these agencies that's like, what school, before they send them any money, don't they have to reinstate things? Don't they have to prove that the children you are using the money properly for the kids? Isn't it something you have to show, like the budget of that you had the children on, and some of the things that you might have spent in the budget that they give you for the children? I don't know. They just, do they do that? Like they come and check? I don't know. If anybody know, please leave it in the chat, because I thought they check behind these people when they foster care and they're making sure the children are safe and the children are being properly cared for. I didn't know they just let people just take the kids and just go on. I guess because the system is so full of it that they don't have enough people to work behind social workers or visiting teachers or whatever they got with the school. And the kids ain't in school, so that's kind of like hard, because the school is one of the places where you catch them sometimes. Because some things I've been reporting and things I've been seeing in some of the children that have been coming in classrooms I've been in, and I could tell something is wrong, and you say something to them about, I don't know, I think something going on with this child over here. You tell people, but let me tell you something. People are, are weird and ignorant. They say they want you to work and do this kind of work, but when you want to do it, they like, oh no, let's wait a while. We got to make sure, no, move right away. You recognize the signs. You know there's some kind of abuse. Children act this stuff out even in the classroom. You could tell when they start touching on other kids, or they start being mean to other kids and bullying other kids and hitting other kids. That's coming from somewhere, from home. The behavior, the environment they're in. They're learning from wherever environment they're in. It ain't got nothing to do with their poverty. Because I know some people that raise the most nicest, beautiful, mannerable children. And they on the system and everything, but they make sure their kids are going to try to do better than where they're at. So they push for their children's education and they do everything they can to make sure their kids have a good life, a, have the best quality of life. Just because you poor and you ain't got a lot of money don't mean you can't raise healthy children or bring up good children. That money ain't got nothing to do with it. You know, money ain't got nothing to do with it. Yes, you need the resources of money and all that stuff for housing, to pay the bills, to keep food on the table, to, whatever. Yes, you need money for to live, but you don't need a whole lot of it, to live and to do right and to do right by humanity, to do humanity. It doesn't take a lot of money to do humanity, to be a good person in society. It doesn't take money. If anything, the love of money is the root of all evil. If you love money so much, you wicked. You'll do anything with money because you have it to hurt other people. Look at what's going on in our world. It's more the people than money that cause all the problems in the world. That you can't get no fair justice because they paying people to stay quiet, or they bullying people because they got power, money, and power to do these things to people. And look at the evil that these people did for money. They had no intentions on loving those kids, making sure those kids were well cared for, or nothing like that. They just wanted the money. The money. But I'm going to do a follow up on this story. Thank all of you for coming in and listening. Please hit the like button as you come on in or as you go on out. If this is new, if you are new viewing my channel, like, you can share and subscribe. Hit the notifications so when I come on, you'll get the notification. I will try to come back this evening. I wanted to do a throwback Thursday. Those of you who are following, not following, those of you who are R. Kelly supporters, you come back this evening. I'm going to do a throwback Thursday with you. Our throwback Thursday, we still talking about going over scenarios and things that had taken place throughout 2019 up until R. Kelly was arrested with Azarel and the Clary family, which I call them an organized crime family because of the way things were done. And then I'm gonna show you footage, and I think I did already showed you the video when they was already grooming Azarel, when her family was already grooming her and getting her ready to go meet R. Kelly. Okay, there's videos of her singing in pageants and singing and doing some singing on auditorium or whatever assemblies. She's also was singing and her dad was telling her, oh, your voice got to be like this and that. And if you go back on the Gayle King show and listen to the interview, the full coverage of that interview with her and Joy, she even said, I don't want to sing. It's my dad. He wants me to sing. And she was being honest. She was really, truly being honest. And I truly believe she stayed there with R. Kelly because that's where she felt safe to escape her. Like I said, she wanted to be there. And I'm just angry at the fact now she's like, how old is Azarel? Azarel should be around 28, 29, 20. Azarel should be, because when it all would happen, she was 22. Okay, she just made 22. She made 22 in January of that year of 2019. She just made 22 years old. And Joy was like 24. So you do the math. It's been 7 years now. 22, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, she's almost 30. She ain't no little girl. She almost, Azarel is about almost 30. She's 29. And Joy should be now around 32. 31 or 30, 30, 31 or 32. Yep. They ain't no little girls. It wasn't no little girls. It was never a little girl. You know, she was a teenager. She was a late teen. She was a young woman. I wouldn't even consider her a teenager because females, we female children, we mature quicker. When we 16, we run in our mind. Some of our minds is operating already like scientifically. When we 16, some of us are like 21. That's why males are considered adults at 21, and female children are usually considered adults at 18. And in some places, 16 or 17, I don't know. But because we advance quicker than men do. Yep. So basically, right now, your age could be 30, but your mind could, your ways of how you act and everything, you could have an old soul and act like you 60. You know what I'm saying? You can act like you 60. So how God is looking at things is different from how we see things in the flesh. Oh, she's just a baby. She's just only just a. She's not a baby. That's a grown ass woman. That's a grown ass woman. Azrael was a grown ass woman. So was Joy. Because they've been out there experienced before they even got to this man. So it wasn't like they were children, innocent children. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to look at. Because I was looking at those pictures and I was looking at how they was grooming her and in those videos. Why was those videos on social media, on YouTube? It was old videos of her singing in assemblies and doing things of that nature. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had to go back because I was like, I missed something. I'm not trying to look at it like everybody else is looking at it. I'm trying to see something that everybody seemed to have missed, that the family was all actually, Azarel and her parents were actually the RICO. They were the ones operating on racketeering, interfering, okay, racketeering, interfering, um, cor- like corrupt. I mean, what is it? Corruption, racketeering, interfering, corruption act. Okay, and they was obstructed to justice because first of all, Azarel was a minor, and as was her parents pushing her on this grown ass man. And then her father trying to extort R. Kelly for money, like blackmail him. And she said that, and that right there is going to be used again when it's time for them to go up to court. If R. Kelly press charges against it, he can do it. His attorney, right? He can do it. He has the right to do it. He can press charges and file a lawsuit against them. R. Kelly can do it. R. Kelly can do it. Instead of looking for his justice from them, he can get his justice. All he has to do is file a petition and a claim against what the Clarys did to his life. He can do it. He can file a claim against them. He has a right. He probably don't want to do it. He's too busy coming after Sony. You get to them Clarys first so you can get yourself. Don't worry about Sony right now. We're going to start at the bottom. We're going to get Azarel. What's his name again? Alice. He could have Alice and Angelo. He could file a lawsuit against them. And all he has to do is get it done through his attorney. Well, anyway, y'all, I'll come back with y'all later on tonight. We'll pick up on this conversation. God bless you, love you, and be safe.